Hey everyone, my name is Katrina and welcome back to my channel. Today I decided to share something positive when the world is going negative and with all the lockdowns and coronavirus and so on. I'm really happy that finally I've decided to film this cute little storytime video about how I met my German husband. Shortly about me, my name is Katrina, I'm a Latvian, I'm a student, I'm living in Bavaria but I study in Couchsurfing, which is in Austria. And if you want to know more about me, you can watch the video I made previously on my YouTube. I will also answer some questions that my followers asked me on Instagram, either during the story or somewhere at the end. Before I start the story, I would love to answer this question. How did it all begin? Like in a romantic movie or simple as that? I can already say that for me it felt like a romantic movie, but it wasn't that romantic. It was a bit different from what other people experience these days, but at the same time, it also was related with internet, therefore I would say it's very nowadays-like story, and yeah, stay tuned. So, how did it all begin? I had several relationships previously and some of them were long and they of course ended, and at some point I found myself single in a big capital city of Latvia, Riga. It was summer, I was working in an Indian restaurant the whole summer to earn some money on the side while I was studying. I had this talk with my mom and my mom said that our friends who we know have a daughter, and this family's daughter was praying for a man that will match her criteria. And then suddenly she met the guy who matched exactly the criteria that she did in the prayer. Now they're married and they have all the children and they have a very loving family. Of course, I don't know everything about it, but this story made me think, okay, wow, I should believe in miracles, you know. Maybe I should also pray and mention all the criteria I want in my husband, and maybe it will come true. And that's actually what I did. So basically I started listing all the criteria that I would love to have in my husband, like sporty, intelligent, humorous, will love me, I will love him, from a Christian family, what else, good looking, I don't know, all kinds of criteria. I don't remember exact all of them which I was praying for, but that's what I did in the summer when I was working. So I prayed for a guy with exact matching criteria, and then of course I was just waiting, you know. I was also working kinda and therefore not that much free time, but at the same time it was summer, so I thought, okay, I'm alone in this apartment. I had heard about Couchsurfing. If you don't know what's Couchsurfing, it's like a platform where travelers and hosts can meet and they can stay at other people's places for free, kinda, but there's some rules anyway. So I have this apartment and my sister is not there. I was like, okay, kind of feeling lonely-ish. What should I do on my free day? You know, let's try Couchsurfing. And then I saw these two German students who would like to stay for 2 nights in Riga. And I was like, okay, but I'm kind of scared of hosting people I don't know. So I read all the reviews about this person. He had the best reviews ever and a lot of them. And this is the best friend of my husband who was posting this. So I didn't know anything about my now husband, but he said that his friend, so this is the best friend, and he said his friend is as nice as him, so it should be all fine and I should not worry. And so, but yeah, of course I worried at the beginning. We arranged a meeting in the city center and I would show them where to park the car. When they arrived with the car, it was fully packed because they were traveling by car from Germany to Sweden for Erasmus studies. And the first time I met my husband was sitting in the car, so he was at the wheel and a friend came out to greet me, and then we all sat in the car. And my first impression when I sat next to Michael, the name of my husband is Michael, my first impression was, wow, he looks really sporty and good looking, and you know, I had this click in my brain like, wow, I would love to know more about this guy, you know. It kind of felt like I'm falling for him, but of course my heart might be falling, but my brain was saying, you have to know more about this guy. You cannot be starting like falling in love with people you don't even know. Then further I was like, okay, let's just park the car, bring the stuff to the apartment, and then we went for a walk in the capital city, and it was like me, those two guys. I was showing them around, talking about Latvia, our culture, Old Town, all the beautiful things that we have in our capital city. And then in the evening, since it was still my last free day and the next day I had to work, I thought, okay, let's maybe go out for some dances or some Latvian restaurants or clubs or whatever. And that's what we did. And further on in this evening, I started having this crazy butterfly stomach feeling, you know. And it was music, and we were kind of dancing, all three of us. And I was just like, I don't know what to do about this butterfly feeling. At some point, I was like, you know, the more I talk with these guys and the more I know about Michael, I had this crazy thought that really, I'm really falling for him. Before I say something to the guy I like, I was actually going to his best friend and saying, you know, I have a butterfly feeling in my stomach that I love this guy, like I love your best friend, and what should I do about it? And his reaction was like, you know, go for it. And I was like, really? My brain's like, how can you go for someone who's leaving in 2 days, or 1 day even? Yeah, who's leaving in 2 days? And I was like, this is crazy. This is really, really crazy. And I was just like, not feeling it, you know? And of course, this best friend disappeared. And then we were just two of us, and he was kind of quiet, you know? He didn't talk blah, blah, blah all the time like his best friend. He would be quiet and answer only when there's question, or he would actually have something good to say. And that made it more even mysterious about this guy. And I really liked him about being, you know, him. I was very scared of telling him anything. Even when this guy disappeared, I thought, okay, this is my chance, but I didn't feel like it. So I was like a chicken. I couldn't say anything to this guy. So I also had a question, when did you realize you were in love with each other? I would say it all unveiled throughout this evening. Like from the moment I met him, I already had a click, and then throughout the evening when I got to know him personally. And then who said it first? Of course it was me. And then later we switched places, we went somewhere else, and I finally was like, okay. And then we were again just two of us. So I told him I like him a lot, and you know, if he likes me back, and he kind of had the same feelings. And yeah, I'm really happy about the moment. And but further on, of course, my brain was like, how is this gonna work? How is this even gonna work? He's a foreigner and he's leaving in a few days, and this makes no sense. And okay, just relax. And yeah. So of course that night ended, and the next day I had to work, and I had a shift which never ended because we had customers who thought we were working until 4 a.m. So still around midnight, 1 o'clock, they still were sitting there because they thought that we worked until 4 a.m. but we worked until 24 hours. So yeah, I was super tired after a whole working day, but when I went home, they were waiting for me because I didn't give them the key or left them alone in my apartment. I was just like, so I go, they go, and when I come back, they can come back and stay for the night. And of course, they were super tired after a whole day outside of sightseeing and everything. But in that evening, I realized if I don't do anything, if I don't talk with this guy, if I don't, you know, have the chance of really telling him I was serious about the previous words in the previous night, then this will never happen. We all went to bed. So we all went to bed. They were sleeping in the living room. I was in bedroom. And we all went to bed. And I was just like, I cannot fall asleep in this moment, you know. I really want to text this guy and tell him everything I feel about him. And I think he texted me, are you still up for the talk you wanted to? I don't remember, did I mention something about the talk? And he said, are you still up for the talk you wanted to do? I said, okay, yes, let's go. And of course, we didn't want to talk in the apartment where was his best friend sleeping. Not sleeping, but he was still there. And so I texted him, okay, let's go out for a talk. So we all dressed up, we went out, and we were sitting in a bus station, and I was telling him everything about my exes and previous relationships and how I feel and about my values and Christianity and so on and so on and so on. And at the end, the whole message was, I really like you. This has been my experience. I prayed for a guy like you. You kind of meet all the criteria. So I have this feeling that you were sent for me. And, you know, he kind of was like, okay, I also like you, and let's give this a shot, you know. Everything was nice. Everything turned out to be really nice. The only problem was the next day they left and I had to work again. So it was like a very painful moment that I couldn't do. Like in the morning we said goodbyes and they just left, and I left for work, and I was just like, you know, devastated that there's this guy he's German, and he just came for 2 nights in Riga, and I had to work a lot. I couldn't spend that much time, but I still somehow ended up falling for him. And of course, my next reaction was, okay, I need tickets. I'm going to Sweden, you know, I'm gonna meet him. So I'm texting him, what are you doing 3 weeks later in this particular weekend? And he says, it's kind of Erasmus studies. I don't have a schedule yet. Probably it should be easy. You can come, you know, like, I was like, yes, I'm booking the flights, you know, I'm booking the flights. I'm very happy. And so we're gonna meet in Sweden. And the next day, he texts me, what are you doing 1 week earlier in Riga? And I was like, no way. No way you're showing initiative and you're gonna come to Riga to meet me 1 week earlier. Like yesterday I bought the tickets and today you're telling me you're gonna buy another ticket. Like you will buy another flight tickets just to come 1 week earlier to meet me. I was like, wow, that is some serious initiative. And of course I said, you know, I'm super busy. I'm gonna organize a freshman party and I will be the host and I will have to do a lot and, you know, I will be super stressed, but you can come. And of course, he said, okay, I will help you and everything's gonna be fine. So he came and we had a really amazing freshman party. He helped me with hosting it. It was also a nice weekend. And he kind of told me that he wasn't sure that I was serious when I said at the bus stop that I like him. You know, he kind of told me that I thought you were not serious, that you like me. And I thought that there was out of a blue, and I couldn't believe that such a beautiful girl was kind of telling me this, you know, and I was like, oh, so cute, so cute. But yeah, so further on, we had a long distance relationship. We had the long distance relationship between Riga and Stockholm for a few months when he was there studying. Then we had another distance relationship between me in Karlsruhe in Germany and him in Munich, which is kind of 4 hours, 3-4 hours by car. Because I was having my Erasmus, I was trying to get Erasmus closer to him, but I could only get to the partner universities. So Karlsruhe and Munich was our locations. And then that was the first year. And then after this first year, I was back in Riga for my last years of study. And he was near Munich starting to work. It was really complicated because then it started to be really expensive flights between Riga and Munich. And it was like always you would have to spend around 200 euros. And it was insane, but he was working and I still had some money saved up from my work. And, you know, we had this rule that we have to meet each other at least once a month. The other thing was we have to see each other daily on WhatsApp or Duo or whatever we were using. And we would chat the whole time, kind of. Not the whole time, but you know what I mean. And that was how we survived this long distance relationship. And I also had a question, how long was the long distance relationship? So we met back in 2016 in August, and then we lived 3 months together in 2018, just for the summer. I wanted to see how would it be to actually live with this person. And then when I finally graduated, which was last year, so basically I graduated in 2019, and I started living together with him. After I graduated, I just packed my bags and drove to Germany, and we never looked back. Okay, no. And now we started living together. And yeah, also in 2020, now during Corona, we got married, but we still are planning the big wedding. And yeah, there's so much things to talk about, but I'm trying to keep it short and to the point. And I will just go through some of the questions that people asked me. Did you have doubts about having a relationship with a foreigner? Well, not really, because he's German, and in my opinion, some years ago I thought I'm more German than Latvian because I love punctuality, timeliness, and everything is organized, and I was actually feeling like I'm part of German culture. So when I met him and I knew that Germans and Latvians are not that different, of course we have some differences. Now I see a lot of differences, but at that point I thought that no, there's no doubt, because we are in a similar culture and I kind of feel more similar to German culture than Latvian. Was it difficult introducing your partner to parents? And especially because of the language barrier. Yes, it was a bit difficult, but my parents speak a little English and they understand quite okay. And of course, the first meetings were that I'm translating constantly from English to Latvian and then from Latvian to English. It was a bit hard for me, and but I know that my parents really liked this guy. When I introduced him, they really liked him, and they said that he's a good guy, and coming from a Christian family, should have great values. Like, they were actually really happy for me, and they thought, okay, that's really nice. Okay, so my parents speak English, but his parents, dad speaks some little English, mom doesn't speak any English. So, and they are living in Bavaria, which means they have a Bavarian dialect, which means for me, I thought, okay, I speak German, I should be fine. And then I went to their family gatherings, like dinners and whatever, and I would be completely lost. Like, the German I learned was not the German they were speaking, because it was very much Bavarian, and I had real difficulties of understanding what the discussion is going about. But of course, if anyone was asking me, like, I was really pushing myself to speak German, and and they said I speak okay, but when I was trying to understand them, my first few months were like completely lost. This was not easy to understand, and it was really difficult. And still, now in 2020, I understand some Bavarian words, but I still have some difficulties of understanding a very fluent Bavarian speech, which is usually like, we had some family gatherings and there was a lot of Bavarian, and then I was, wow, this dialect is really driving me crazy. Why can't you speak Hochdeutsch, But okay, anyway. Another question is, what was the toughest in the beginning? I think in the beginning of this relationship, the toughest was the distance relationship, and the fact that you cannot see each other, and you kind of have to chat and always call and make sure that the other person has some time free. The only way it worked was we planned ahead. We kind of always planned ahead what's going to happen, when can we meet, when is the best weekend, or do we have holidays. We always had to plan, and because we planned, it wasn't that bad, but it was still very tough. But I think if a relationship starts by long distance, then it has a higher chance of being successful, rather than when a relationship starts normally, you already start living together and then you go into the long distance. I think then it's more complicated. But in our case, we had it the other way around, that we started with long distance and then it was okay. Yeah, I can hear that my neighbors are having a renovation, so I'm sorry for the noises in the background, but anyway. Was it hard with a foreigner about the language barriers, traditions, mentality? As I said, Latvian and German culture is not that different, so it wasn't that bad. And okay, now when I start living here and I see more differences, then I'm a bit okay. Some things I don't like, and some things I find really cool, and that they have such cool traditions, like Bavarian traditions is very interesting topic for me, but of course I'm not sure that I support all of them. But I still think I love that they are concentrating around family here more, and I love that. I really think that's something great. Family comes first almost very often. I love this. I really love this. Another question. So, do you talk in English with your partner? Well, we started English and now we cannot really go in a different direction, But of course, my husband tries to speak German with me. I try to answer in German, and we are kind of speaking both German, English, and sometimes more German. There's another question. Do you plan to talk to your kids in English or German? This is a tricky one. We don't have kids yet, and I think I will speak with them in English and my husband's gonna speak with them in German. So they would have two languages and they would be very well in both languages. And then at some point I would maybe teach them Latvian, so they could also have this side of the culture. And yeah, only because my parents kind of would love them to speak some Latvian, and also because I want to give them a chance to have the language of their mother. I'm somehow really hoping it will all work out, but you never know. How did you get through the unpleasant feelings about the distance? Seriously, only those talks and phone calls every day. And I think once I even made a scene about the fact that he didn't want to have a video call even for 2 minutes because he was somewhere meeting his friends, and I thought they kind of know me, it's kind of okay if he would go out for a few minutes to say hello, how was my day, and so. And because we had this routine of everyday chats, everyday calling each other, seeing each other, sending pictures, it would be a normal thing to do, and it was a routine, and we kind of felt like we are living. No, it didn't feel like we were living with each other, but it still felt like we are up to date and we know what happens in the other person's lives, and we kind of feel like we're connected and related, and we know that we're going to see each other. And we always had booked the next flight, so we would always have a date to look forward to, and it would build up this longing. And then when we meet each other, we would go on dates. Yeah, someone actually asked me, did we date? Of course, every time we met, we would be going out for restaurants, movies, on walks, and all the date stuff. Like, dating was what we did the whole weekend when we would meet each other. What was the longest time in a long distance relationship? As it started long distance and it ended long distance in around now 2019, I would say it was 3 years. But if you're asking what was the longest time between we saw each other, I would say 1.5 or 2 months. When once there was a funeral, that's why he couldn't fly in on the planned date, and we had to wait another month to see the next time. It was very painful, but we somehow managed to do it. And I really believe that if you have true love, you're gonna survive this, no matter what. And that's actually kind of the main message I wanted to say here. Believe in long distance relationships, believe in love, believe in miracles. If you don't have a partner yet, maybe you should also think of what kind of characteristics you would like to see in your partner. Send it out there, pray, and just wait for this. Maybe it will happen sooner or later when you meet the perfect partner, but it will happen, believe that. And those who have a partner, I wish you could share the love you had in the very first moments you kind of fall for each other. Go on dates and plan surprise dates, or plan a time when you're going to spend together, and really don't forget why you fell for each other, and believe in love. And as we're coming to the end of this video, I would appreciate a lot if you left a like or comment or subscribe. And thank you guys for watching. See you soon, stay healthy, and goodbye.